What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Keg is back with you. It is 10 p.m. on a Monday night. We got some wild weather working its way across the country. That's likely going to make its way in part to parts, anyway, of the Florida Peninsula. We're going to talk about that hour by hour, just getting some boxes set up, and we are going to get ready to rock and roll here. We are coming at you live on the New 6 YouTube channel as well as New 6 Plus. So welcome wherever you may be tuning in from. Glad to have you here. We have a ton to talk about this evening, and we are going to get things underway as we speak. So again, the big thing is the big weather maker is working its way across the country. And we are going to talk about our temperatures first, just to give you, if you're heading out in the next couple of hours or heading out tomorrow morning. And then we're going to get into the dynamic system. So there right off the bat. And by the way, post in the comments where you're tuning in from, whether you're in Central Florida, whether you're tuning in from anywhere else across the country. We'd love to have you here. Again, post in the comments where you're tuning in from. So temperatures now nice and mild. It's much warmer than where we were last night at this time. We're back to the mid 60s. It chilled down rather quickly in the dry air mass that we had. And just to give you a sense of where we're going, and this is due in part to the bigger system that is developing as we speak in the desert Southwest. The wind is going to start to crank up big time tomorrow, and then especially Wednesday out ahead of our next storm system. So we'll take a look at that coming up in a few minutes. But by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we are back to the upper 60s, low to mid 70s by 11 o'clock, and then mid 70s by 1 o'clock into the afternoon. It will be pretty breezy as well. And by the way, we're taking a live look across Central Florida tonight. We have Azalea Park above my head in the Brady Bunch box. And then we also have Ponce Inlet below my body in the bottom box. Those live, that live video and some of the weather data that we're going to show you tonight is going to be courtesy of our friends at WeatherStem. So thank you so much for providing those live views of across Central Florida. Okay, so now we're gonna get ready to break down the craziness that is literally coming our way, and really a lot of the deep south over the next couple of days. And we can see that here, that swirl. If you look closely, can you see it? Post in the chat if you can see this, by the way, if you're watching on our YouTube channel. Notice that counterclockwise spin. We got one piece of it hanging towards Las Vegas, Phoenix area, and then another piece of it around Denver. Again, post in the comments for me if you can see that spin on the water vapor imagery. We're looking at about 15 to 20,000 feet above our head. This is kind of picking up the atmospheric motion, if you will, the upper level lows that we have that sometimes go into making surface lows, which we will eventually have. By the way, this imagery, this satellite imagery that we are looking at is courtesy of NOAA. You may have heard there's a lot in the news going on with NOAA and the National Weather Service. These satellite images and these satellite views that we can all freely look at, by the way, and I can show you where the storms are and help us track. And you'll hear me go in a soapbox probably many times from now until this solution is rectified, until this problem is rectified, I should say. Without NOAA, we can't see these images. We can't see where the storms are because they are the ones that launch the satellites up well into our Earth's atmosphere, above Earth's atmosphere, so that we can see the storm system. So again, everything that I show you tonight, all of the weather data, is courtesy of NOAA again. This big swirl that is out in the western portion of the United States is going to go into likely making a mini severe weather outbreak here in parts of the deep south. We're talking about parts of East Texas, Louisiana, southern Arkansas, especially getting into the western side of the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, if I didn't mention Louisiana already, tomorrow. So this is the biggest severe weather threat anyway of the spring severe weather season. Of course, March 1st starts the season that we all know as meteorological spring, and it, of course, astronomical spring is in a few weeks from now, but we have our months anyway on the weather side of things in nice 3 month increments so that we can keep good record keeping and all that data and stuff. So that is why meteorological spring starts on the 1st of March, and then we'll get into meteorological summer in 3 months from now on June 1st. All right. So that is the area, at least, that we're going to be under concern for tomorrow. There's also an opportunity for some severe weather and tornadoes tonight in Oklahoma as a result of that dynamic system. This is one thing that we're going to be watching closely tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be one of those days, and I'll show you the high resolution future radar coming up. Um, just in a couple of minutes here to really show you what the high resolution model is showing, just how volatile the atmosphere is. But where you see that yellow shaded area from just to the east of Dallas to north of New Orleans, including Pensacola, Florida, into southern Arkansas, and parts of really the southern half or southern two-thirds of um, Mississippi, and then extreme north southwest Alabama, that's where we're going to have our big time tornado outbreak risk tomorrow. And again, that is going to be northwest of the Florida Peninsula. I'm just kind of showing you the progression here of this system. So when we're talking about the severe weather threat, it is no doubt going to be the highest northwest of the Florida Peninsula. But with that said, on Wednesday afternoon, we're going to have to watch for a couple of rowdy storms in the Florida Peninsula. Speaking of rowdy things, look at this. There is going to be a cold side. I mentioned that this was a super, super dynamic storm. On the cold side of this, we're talking about blizzard conditions from to the front to the foothills of the Rockies around Denver. That's where we have a blizzard warning, and that extends well up into central and western. Um, Nebraska, and then also around the Omaha area, extreme northwest Missouri, and then also extreme southwest Iowa. Blizzard warnings in play. So again, anytime you get potential tornado watches, butted up winter storm warnings or blizzard warnings, you know it is a extremely dynamic system. Winter storm watches then extend from southern Minnesota into Wisconsin, into pretty much western Iowa. So they could pick up pretty much more snow than what they've seen all of winter with this early March event. And I mean, we have winter storm warnings down to the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, just on the other side of that. So some wild stuff getting ready to come down the pipeline. So that is all happening Tuesday, tomorrow, into the first part of Wednesday. Now, Wednesday afternoon is when we're going to be up right here in Central Florida. We're going to get a little more in depth with the timeline of this and kind of the locality. So from your neighborhood, depending upon where you are, we'll get you that hyper local look here. And again, post in the comments if you're just tuning in where you are tuning in from. But this is going to be the severe weather risk on Wednesday. Now you'll see, and we're going to get into a little bit. I do think there's room for an upgrade. This is what we call the day 3 outlook. Of course, Monday's day 1, where we are right now. Tuesday's day 2, tomorrow, and then day 3 is Wednesday. Typically, the Storm Prediction Center is going to start conservative and then ramp up as we get a better sense of what the environment is doing. And by the way, the Storm Prediction Center, which has outlooked these areas, that is a division of NOAA and the National Weather Service as well. So again, those men and women, those meteorologists continue to work given all the things that are going on. So kudos to them as well. But that is our severe weather risk, level 1 out of 5 at this present time for the northern half of the Florida Peninsula. There is certainly room for that to change. There's certainly room for an upgrade. I will show you what I'm talking about and why I think we might be able to get there, unfortunately, coming up in a little bit. I first want to send you guys to a quick break. I'm just going to retool, get some stuff ready in the show. We will be back in exactly 2 minutes. Sit tight, guys. All right, guys, we are back here live on a Monday night. Just want to take a look at some of the comments. Real quick, what's going on in Ocoee? Jafar is asking about Ocoee tomorrow, looking pretty good. Breezy temperatures in the mid to upper 70s tomorrow. Mimi Love, good lie, and Apopka. Good to see you again, my friend. It has been a while. Florida Keys tuning in. Pensacola, no doubt, is going to see that severe weather threat, a tornado threat specifically, as you mentioned, especially late tomorrow night. That's going to be late Tuesday for the Pensacola area. Crazy again, just what, about 2 months removed, 6 weeks removed from all of that snow that fell in the Florida Panhandle. Now we're going to be under a tornado threat. Reagan in Tifton, Georgia, welcome. Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, stay safe out your way tonight and into tomorrow. That's whenever we're going to see the severe weather risk for you, as what we were talking about. All right, so we're going to get a little more in depth here. We are going to get a little more local for anybody tuning in from the Central Florida area. And again, we're still going to be talking about this very dynamic system. And if you're just joining us, we're taking a live look tonight above my head in Azalea Park and also below my body in the Brady Bunch boxes. That bottom one is Ponce Inlet. Azalea Park is on top. That live video feed coming in from our friends at WeatherStem. So thank you a ton to WeatherStem for their use of their beautiful camera network tonight. Tomorrow we are turning breezy through Central Florida, and that is going to be the case out ahead of this system. So as this thing really starts churning and then brings that severe weather threat to parts of the deep south and that blizzard, as we were talking about into parts of the plain states, the wind is going to start to increase locally as a result. Now, it's really going to pick up on Wednesday, and that's also when we're going to see the chance for that, we will see that cold front come through. But the chance for a few of those storms to get a little rowdy on Wednesday afternoon into the evening. The biggest threats with that, and we're going to take a closer look at that coming up in just a couple of minutes, will be damaging wind gusts. I think large hail is going to be a sneaky, sneaky big threat. And then a lot of lightning with that. When we get ice in the cloud, you get lightning. So I do think this is going to be our first real run of the season for that severe weather potential. And we're going to talk about that. Then behind that, it does turn much, much colder. It's not a long-lived blast of cold, but it is going to turn chilly. That's for sure. In Central Florida, we'll take a look at those temperatures in just 1 second. Another look at this, if you're just joining us, very dynamic system. You can tell that the surface low is starting to get cranking right around the Denver area. A couple of swirls there. You see that big counterclockwise motion. We're taking a look at the water vapor imagery right now. And this is the makings. This is the start. The last couple of hours, this storm has started to crank a little bit. And we will see this thing really explode over the next several hours and into tomorrow. And again, that is going to create a big time severe weather threat into the deep south and then blizzard conditions to the northwest of that low through parts of Nebraska into Iowa and all that jazz. So we're going to start things off in the middle of a likely severe weather outbreak tomorrow. So this is going to be Tuesday, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. And I wanted to show you this because, I mean, this is one of the things that we're going to be watching and that will likely steal national headlines tomorrow. The high resolution radar. See all these kidney bean shapes? Hit the thumbs up button if you're on YouTube. Post in the comments if you can see this. All of these kidney bean shapes, right, split through Baton Rouge to the west of New Orleans. That is the high resolution model picking up on supercell. So each one of those in that environment, and it is going to be, I think, the further south to take advantage of some of the instability that the atmosphere is giving. That is where we're going to see that main tornado threat tomorrow, really from the Louisiana coastline to the Gulf Coast, up through Jackson, into Monroe, Shreveport, Tyler, Texas, Lake Charles, early tomorrow afternoon through the latter stages of the afternoon. So that's some big time tornadic activity. If this model verifies, again, we've been talking about the potential for some big time storms really for the last 7 to 10 days. This has looked obvious. And a lot of times when you can see these long range, it's one of the bigger outbreaks. There are some limiting factors for our friends in the deep south. we're hoping that those limiting factors come into fruition, and mainly it's the warmth, it's the dew points, it's the humidity, it's the instability. But certainly, if the the radar looks like that tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have some big trouble for our friends in the deep south. Now, you do see here as we move forward in time, when we move the map so you can actually see, things become a little more linear. And while it still will produce the opportunity for some severe thunderstorms, we do typically like it when it's linear because it prevents the cells from being a little more discreet and prevents the bigger tornadoes from happening as well. Still, the opportunity for some tornadic stuff west of Jacksonville is going to be possible. But I do think that threat is going to be a little bit lower by the time we get into 7 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. With that said, would not be surprised if we do have some very nasty weather rolling through the Florida Panhandle and Big Bend area by the time you wake up on Wednesday morning. Again, that is going to be 7 o'clock in the morning. Let me roll this out if you're in the Central Florida area. And then this is what we're going to have to watch for. So, again, a couple of little bullseyes being pegged there through the I-4 corridor. So, again, while it's not going to be widespread, while it's not going to be certainly as intense as what is likely coming for the deep south tomorrow, couple of storms again. I'm expecting to get a little rowdy as we move through the day on Wednesday. This I had this paused here at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Could be a little ugly from Daytona Beach to Deltona, Apopka, Orlando, Lakeland, and a little earlier for our friends at Palm Coast, Marineland, Ocala. Really late morning, around maybe around 11 o'clock or so. That's when we're expecting things to start to move on through. By 8 o'clock, we're going to be wrapping this up, but we're still going to be watching for a few strong thunderstorms. Palm Bay, Yeehaw Junction, Micco, West Melbourne, Melbourne for certain. Okay, so right now the Storm Prediction Center has us in that 1 out of 5 marginal risk for severe weather. I agree with it at this point. I do think we're gonna have the chance as we continue to observe the environment, just how much instability is gonna be there. I do think we could see this go up a little bit, at least part of this area, to that level 2 out of 5, that slight risk. Still not looking at anything even remotely close to what they're likely going to see um, in the deep south tomorrow. But nonetheless, I do think a few of those storms could get rowdy. I really think large hail, lightning, a few damaging wind gusts are going to be possible. The flood threat with this is low to non-existent. Rain will be heavy at times in the thunderstorms, but they're just not, thankfully, going to last very long. They're going to blow through quickly, and again, that's going to keep the flood threat very low to pretty much non-existent. And then the tornado threat, excuse me, the tornado threat is going to be on the lower side. It's not zero for Central Florida, but it's not it's not high for Central Florida is what I'm meaning to say. It's not going to be a non-zero threat, though. Could be a little bit of spin in the atmosphere as that front comes through that could produce a brief tornado. Again, not like anything that they are going to say, and all that and all that jazz as well. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that to slide through. All right. So the question is, does it have to be widespread for the severity to be triggered? Yes and no. If the environment was a little more primed, you would get widespread stuff anyway, but that's going to be the deal. And right now the atmosphere looks marginal, but it's also 3 days out. So we're going to see how the dynamics play out through the day tomorrow, and we're going to get that next update from the Storm Prediction Center at about 2:30 in the morning. That's when they typically will update for the day and day ahead. So yeah, it's a yes and no. Certainly, if it's going to be widespread, that risk is going to be higher too. But a lot of it has to do with the intensity as well, and you're going to get those higher categories from the Storm Prediction Center when you have the higher probability for those 60 to really 70 plus mile per hour wind gusts and the potential for some stronger tornadoes in the deal as well. So it's really the aerial coverage of the severe weather, the confidence of the severe weather, and then the intensity of the severe weather will dictate those categorical that categorical risk that I just showed you from the Storm Prediction Center. It does look a little saucy. I will say though, just with the instability. So we're going to be watching that closely for sure. All right, we're taking a live look in Marineland right now. It's a little dark. You can see one little light off to the side there. This is normally a cool shot of the river during the day, but right now we're talking about air temperatures in the low 60s, as obviously night has fallen 62.7 degrees. And again, this live picture, this live video, and the data coming in from this camera in Marineland is courtesy of our friends at Weathercast, really pinpointing the temperature there at 62.7 degrees. Right now, the breeze out of the east-northeast at about 11 o'clock. It's almost 11 o'clock. And by the way, if you are in the greater Central Florida area, from Ocala to Palm Bay, Melbourne, Daytona Beach, Orlando, Lakeland, or not Lakeland, we're just outside. You can download New 6 Plus for free if you're watching this on YouTube and get our signal. Tune in to the newscast at 11 o'clock. We're going to have the latest high resolution future radar that's coming in hot off the press to show you guys and to kind of time out your day. So join us at 11 o'clock on News 6, CBS affiliate. If you are not near your TV, get to one. Again, if you don't have cable, News 6 Plus, it is a free download on any of those smart devices. The next update will be at about 2:30, and then we won't get a day update from, if you're talking about the Storm Prediction Center Outlook, we won't get that next update until I think the afternoon for the day two, for the categorical day two outlook that they provide. Temperatures right now in the low 60s. And if you're just joining us, post in the comments where you're tuning in from. Would love to see where you guys are tuning in from. Give your town a shout out. Mount Dora right now, if anybody's tuning in from Mount Dora, we are at 65. Marineland, we're at 62. Palm Coast, we are at 62 degrees as well. Tomorrow morning, starting things off around 60 degrees. And then we are going to see temperatures pushing 80 tomorrow. Now, I have rain chances at 10%. I think we're going to see the chance for a few rogue showers to sneak back in. And that's just because we're really cranking up the breeze off of the Atlantic tomorrow. We're going to generate a few of those showers out ahead of the main storm system that is going to be pushing through on Tuesday, or on Wednesday, I should say. With that comes the strong winds. And I mentioned that breeze is going to help generate a few of those downpours tomorrow, or really quick hitting showers. Look at that, 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts tomorrow afternoon. It gets even stronger on Wednesday, staying breezy through most of the week. And then on Sunday, look at that. Another system comes through, and that's going to help to crank out our gusts as well. Excuse me. All right, quick look at the 7-day forecast, and then we are going to break this down in a little more detail tonight at 11 before we go. 70% shot for storms on Wednesday. That's going to be the big deal. That's when we're going to be watching the strong cold front come through. Temperature is going to get back to the upper 70s and lower 80s. There's that chill coming in. Relatively speaking, average high temperatures are in the upper 70s. We are going to see a drop back to the upper 40s by the time we get to Friday morning. So it is going to be chilly. Don't put the jacket away just yet. This may be our last kind of run with a cold blast like this. It gets harder and harder to get these blasts of cold air down the Florida Peninsula. There's the next system on Sunday, 50% shot for storms. Temperatures back to the upper 70s, and then kind of leveling out in the action on Monday with temperatures into the mid 70s. Alrighty, guys, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. Thanks for participating. Thanks for posting in the comments. If you were a fan of this, we're going to be back here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. We are going to be highlighting what is left of that severe weather outbreak, of course, live. And we're going to be talking about our own chance for severe weather tomorrow at 10 p.m. Again, if you were in the greater Central Florida area tonight, tune into News 6. If you are outside or just outside of anybody from Polk County here and you want to catch the News 6 signal, but can't reach us because we're just outside of the area, download News 6 Plus. We talk about you guys a lot in Polk County, even though you're outside of the technical Central Florida area, as it's designated by television markets. But we still talk about you guys a lot. So you can download News 6 Plus. It is a free download on your smart TV, Roku, Apple TV, all that jazz. Do that. There's a lot of cool content you can find on there as well. A lot of cool weather content in addition to our live newscast and streams like this. So I hope you download it. I hope you like it. And we will catch you guys tomorrow night. Stick around 30 minutes from now, just about. Matt Austin, Ginger Gadsden, and I will be live. Latest headlines coming your way. And, of course, another rundown of the weather with the latest high-resolution modeling on that potential severe weather threat for Central Florida on Wednesday afternoon. Have a great night, guys. Be safe.